Oh, I've loved farming ever since I was able to stand behind a horse and drive it. I mean, I think I had an ideal childhood. I mean, I had four brothers and three sisters, and we all worked together. We ate together. I mean, working side by side. My two older brothers a lot bigger than me, but uh, we worked side by side. We had Dad usually run 10 to 15 cows, milk cows, and us three older boys, the family, milked them night, morning, before school and after school. And Dad always told us, he says, when you get your work done here, you can go work for your neighbors to earn money to buy your school clothes and things. So uh, Galen, Condon, and I had the reputation of being the best workers in Riverton. And so I got to work for most of my neighbors, hauling hay and following the thrash machine around, thrashing grain. And but I've always loved farming, especially animals. I know when I was about 10 years old, one winter a big band of sheep went past our place, and after it went past, well, I noticed a sheep out in the middle of the field that they'd left, and I walked out there to see if I could get her, and she had a little lamb. I mean, it was the last of February, and she'd already had a little lamb, but she had a little lamb beside her. And so I took the ewe and the lamb to the house, and then that spring I joined the 4-H program, and I really enjoyed 4-H. I took that lamb and I showed it at the fair, but I've just always loved to work in the soil. In fact, as I work the soil and plant a little seed and watch things grow, it just makes me feel like I'm working hand in hand with our Father in heaven. I'm just helping our Father in heaven as we work together, and I've just always loved the farm, loved working with animals. But after we'd only been married a year. I worked for Wilma Wheeler a year, and that summer, and then I got a job at Anderson Lumber. Sonia was working there at Anderson Lumber, and I got a job working at Anderson Lumber. I started out as delivery boy, and then they put me in as yard manager, and so I worked there for a couple of years. But in the meantime, after we left Wilma Wheelers, why a neighbor up here, Stan Elison, come to me one day and he says, I understand you'd like to go in the dairy business. And I says, yeah, I have thought a lot about it if things work out. And he says, well, he says, I saved this dairy for my son, but he's wants to go into service. He said, would you be interested in taking over the cows? He says, you can rent my barn and my pasture and just make monthly payments to me out of your milk check. And boy, I just walking on air, because boy, that just thrilled me. And so we signed the contract, and he had a grade A setup, so the milk was grade A milk, and so I got a good price out of it. And so I worked for Anderson Lumber and milked cows and tried to help my father. He was still farming here, and trying to help my father because his health was getting a little bit bad, and we moved into a little trailer house there where the dairy was. So we had a home to live, and that's where our first daughter was born. Katrina was born there when we was living in that little trailer house. And so, but I've always wanted to farm. That's when I was going to school. I had no desire to go on to college because I wanted to farm.
So when you first had this opportunity with the dairy, you know, because I think a lot of people who grew up on farms or ranches or in agriculture, they love the lifestyle. They love seeing things progress from your own work, from your own hard work, and that's a lot of the dreams. But for a lot of people, it's
Right.
hard to make happen. You know, for a lifestyle when you're an adult and having family and kids. So how did that feel to, you know, get that opportunity to potentially have something to work on for the rest of your life?
Like I say, I mean, I just felt like everything just fell in my lap. I mean, I was thrilled with it. I mean, I had to work hard. Like I say, I was farming and working a full-time job at Anderson Lumber and milking them old cows twice a day, but I enjoyed it every minute of it. I'd leave the house at 4 in the morning, and a lot of times I wouldn't be back till 10 at night. Of course, when every time Sonia didn't have to work, she was out in the field with me, or where I was at, she was with me, and we've just worked side by side.
Boy, and I think I'm tired when I sit and have to do my desk job and then go work on a house. You were on your feet all day from
I
four to
was,
ten. That's rough.
yeah,
You
I
had to
just,
really love it.
yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it.
How was it, you know, having that opportunity for your kids? I know it's just with the opportunity I'm at right now. I when I go back and visit my parents and get to take Louis out on the ranch a little bit, I sure miss it. And so, how was it being able to raise your kids doing something that you loved?
Well, there again, we worked together as a family. I mean, my all five. Well, my youngest daughter didn't milk cows because she had asthma so bad, but all four of my daughters and Glenn milk cows, fed baby calves. I know. I think Glenn was close to 8 years old when I just turned the calf feeding over to him. I mean, he done the feeding of the calves, and one of them got sick. He gave him the shot, doctored him, and I don't know. My kids learned responsibility. I mean, I asked my children to do something, and I never had to worry about it not being done. And I don't think any of them has looked for a job very much. They've all had good jobs.
I know. I'm sure there was times as kids and you know bratty teenagers where they weren't super happy to go work and get their chores done before they could go play.
Oh,
But I'm sure it's really paid off for them now.
yeah. I know my oldest daughter, Katrina, when she was just real small, she wanted to milk cows. And I said, well, you're just a little bit short. I says, we had the raised stalls in the barn, and I says, a cow might kick you right in the face. I says, when you get up this tall, I mean, I measured on the barn's stalls there. So when you get up this tall, why then we'll let you start milking cows. Well, she never hardly made it up tall, but in just a short time she was out milking the cows, and she was a good cow milker. She loved the cows like I did. And my daughters were and Glenn were all good cow milkers. They
I
moved
know.
pipe and run equipment in the field. I sometimes I felt bad I didn't leave any house here for Sonia.
You know, as fun as kids can be, I'm sure it was nice to have a quiet house for a minute.
And they were too tired.
That's true. That's true. I know my mom. She told me a few stories about when she was just little. She'd always try and you guys would find her out in the crowds just because she wanted to be out there so bad.
Yeah. Well, I done a lot of my baling hay at night, and there was always a fight which one was going to get to go with me out on the tractor at night baling hay. I always had one of the kids with me all the time.
Sometimes two.
Yeah, sometimes two.
I remember when I'd come stay with you when like I was elementary school, you know, and I remember being in the tractor with you and
Yeah. Well,
falling asleep.
your two older siblings, Brooke and Brandon, they had, well, Brooke and I was talking about how they helped me on the tractor, and I'd get up and as soon as the sunlight was up, I'd go move pipe, and Brooke was right there to go out and move pipe with me.
Yeah, I tell you what though, moving pipe. I don't know if I could say I missed that very much. I think it did me good. It did me
Well,
good, but those were some early, cold, wet mornings.
yes, but we had the wheel line, so it wasn't that much work. I'm really proud. The kids all want to be back home. I mean, they visit a lot. They've got a lot of memories here, and they talk about their memories. And I've had quite a few of our grandchildren come and spend weeks at a time here in the summertime with us. And I know it's been a pleasure, a joy, just to be able to share my joy with them.
I know some of my favorite things here is yeah, being in the tractor with you and then riding in the front bucket of the tractor. I think that was a very favorite thing for the cousins to do, is riding in that front bucket. I think, I think a lot of farmers would kind of get upset if they found out their kids or grandkids were building forts out somewhere. But you actually helped us build the forts.
Yes, always enjoyed watching the kids have fun.
And I think that's the thing a lot of kids are missing nowadays is running around, with that freedom, having the space to run around with that freedom, build stuff, use their imaginations, and that was definitely all here.
Sometimes it upset me just a little bit when they build the fort in the middle of my haystack, though.
That's understandable. Yeah, or go lay down a bunch of hay out in the field or something.
Yep.
Like that.
Yeah, they I get a little upset when they'd play hide and go seek out in my hayfield or grain field, smash it all down.
Smash, smash,